If you want to pull the online card, then maybe get off the internet a little bit and chatting all day. Douche nozzle.
Go ahead and bring Rollo Tomassi on. Shout out to Rollo. Shout out to you.
Can you hear me okay?
What up, man?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So let me explain a few things here. I wasn't able to do this the last time you guys were talking about this, but so about gosh, is it now 2 weeks ago? I think it was Tuesday of last week. You guys had Brandon Carter on. Is that with Derek Moneyberg? Or was that Monday?
Monday.
Monday. Sorry, let me get my camera back up there. So Monday, you guys were talking to Brandon Carter. One of the things that Brandon was talking about was you got to love money. You got to be on top of your game. And and I love Brandon Carter, by the way. I think he should be a stand-up comedian. I mean, the guy is that funny. He's a great guy, right? But when you guys are on that show and you're talking to him, and he's talking about how he doesn't go to he doesn't go to Publix, doesn't go grocery shopping for himself. He doesn't go do his own laundry. He doesn't have a car. I mean, it's Brickle White, but he doesn't have like some basic stuff because his philosophy in life is that anything that takes him away from his grind, anything that takes him away from anything that would distract him or that would be financially or mathematically not a pragmatic choice for him to make, as far as like if he's spending time going grocery shopping or going and getting food for himself or whatever else. I'm sure he's like into meal prep and everything else, but pretty much everything in his life is outsourced, because anything that he would be spending that time himself to go do, he could be losing money doing that at that time. So when I was listening to this, and I was thinking about this myself, because I was actually at the same time, I'm like, helping a friend move and all this. And I'm thinking about this. I'm going, you know what? If you want to be a high value man, if you want to get to that apex level as fast as you can, that's it. How is that not the best way to go about it? Okay. So the point of that whole tweet, which was basically a throwaway tweet that everyone started like snowballing into something else. I've got Ben Shapiro coming at me. I got Matt Walsh coming at me. I got Lauren Chen coming at me. I got all these people off of Daily Wire because it was just easy, low hanging fruit for these guys, because they think that that's what the fucking manosphere is all about. And it's not. Okay. That was not fucking advice. Everything that is on Twitter is not advice. Okay.
Was that a joke?
No, it was not necessarily a joke, but it's like, let's just say it's a hypothetical, okay? It's showing you. Now, fuck up for just fucking 5 seconds, okay? This is no fucking joke here, because everything that's come out of both of you guys' mouth has been nothing but distraction and misdirection, because it's easy fucking clicks for you. So here's the whole thing. When I'm talking about get a vasectomy, don't be concerned with.
I like when he's mad, his glasses get uneven on his nose. You see?
Let him finish.
Okay.
I'm really mad about this, bro.
Shall we keep going? Are we just gonna have jokes thrown in here?
Really heated about this.
Is that what I get to? Is that what I get to do it? Okay, so here's the deal.
Go ahead.
When I'm talking about this, when I'm throwing this out there, why wouldn't you do that? Would you not have been more successful, Sneako, had you not had to go through certain things? If you had a kid right now,
advice or not,
you would be playing the game with a handicap. You would be playing the game with your fucking hands tied behind your back.
Okay, so
there are guys right now who I have a lot of respect for, and I'm sure you have a lot of respect for as well, who all have kids, but you know what they try to do? Try to keep it under wraps.
Okay,
so make sure nobody knows about the fucking kids. Okay.
So it is advice.
So here's okay. First off, this is not fucking advice. Everything that is on my show or is on Twitter is not automatically advice. Now, but here's the thing. You know what you're gonna say, because here's the deal. When I was on whatever podcast I was telling this, I was saying exactly the same thing here. Is that everything that comes out of somebody's mouth on Instagram or on Twitter or on a YouTube, there's no way you can't go on there without somebody going, this is what these guys are saying to do. Because if you have this set automatically, that if it comes out of your mouth, it's automatically advice. It can't just be data. It can't just be statistics. It can't be, nothing can be just delivered sort of like, here's some data for you to look at. Okay. Nothing can be set. Nothing can be given to you without somebody going, well, the reason why you're telling me this is because you're telling me that this is the best way to live my life. Okay. So when I'm watching Brendan Carter and I'm watching all this going on, and I'm looking at like guys that I know and guys that you know as well. And when these are the guys who are like saying, be on your game, do this, do that. They're the ones that are giving this advice. All I'm doing is saying, hey, look, maybe you should not focus on family. Maybe you should not get married. I mean, I don't know why that's big.
Maybe advice.
I'm not saying it's advice. What I'm saying is that is this so over the fucking top that everybody wants to take it out of context, which is exactly what you guys have been doing.
So what is it? Can you tell me what that tweet was if it wasn't advice?
It's not advice. What it is it's okay. It's saying that this is the most extreme way to do things. Okay, here's the quickest path to. If I told you this, look, if I said the quickest way for you to make $1 million,
that sounds like advice.
Is to go steal it from the bank or go to steal it. Does that mean I'm telling you to go steal it? If I tell you to go fucking jump off a cliff, are you going to go jump off a cliff? Right, by the way, here's the other thing is I'm also responding to Dr. Richard Reeves in this as well.
Okay, there's a lot of context about it, sure. But all the rest of the lists, you're equating vasectomy to lifting, game, play to your strength, resisting up on easing your focus. The rest of it sounds like general advice.
Okay, well let's say so let me ask you. So is it the vasectomy part that's throwing you off?
Really genuine good advice, right? The rest of it.
Is it the vasectomy part?
Yeah,
the vasectomy part. Do you agree with pretty much everything else except for the vasectomy part?
The first three is weird because then I don't even know what the red pill idea of a high value man is. Is it just being rich? Like, what's the point of having all this money and not having a family? Why be that rich? The guy who's always grinding. Whoa, Brandon Carter doesn't have to do his laundry. Sick. What else are you going to do with your life?
Right. Maybe this is actually meant so that you'll get it. You'll have a freaking epiphany about how all the shit that you have to sacrifice to get to that in the first place. What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to live the kind of life, let's say like a Brandon Carter is, where you're going to outsource your entire life? Or are you going to actually have kids? Is that something that's a priority for you? Because I will tell you right now that if you follow this kind, if you were to actually follow this list right here, that is the fastest way for you to get to a point where you are more high value, right? But here's the thing. So when I say that, people go, well, that's not what a high value man is. A high value man is what I define it as, which is he's got to have a good, loving, devoted wife. He's got to have 3 or 4 kids or 10 kids, depending on whatever culture you're talking about. All of this stuff that makes up whatever that person who happens to have that is, then that's suddenly the definition of what a high value man is. So what I'm saying this is the best way to become a high value man. I'm not saying this is the only way to become a high value man. I'm just saying that this is the fastest way to go and do something like that.
We've been talking a lot for 5 minutes. What is your definition of a high value man?
It doesn't matter. That's not what I was talking about in this.
It doesn't matter.
I know what you're talking about. That's what the first part of the tweet is: how to become a high value man.
The fastest way to become a high value man is to recognize the fact that you've got sacrifices to make. Okay.
So like what is that? Telling like stories from Vietnam. Like, just say, what is a high value man? It's the first part of the tweet. What does that mean?
You tell me what a high value man is. Because here's the thing: is it doesn't matter what I'm going to say is a high value man. You guys are fucking
because it's your fucking tweet.
It doesn't matter what I say is a fucking high value man, because everybody takes this. The point of the fucking tweet is that everybody is going to take this and then insert their own definition of what a fucking high value man is.
What if a high value man is having 12 kids when you're 16? Then your tweet doesn't work, does it? What if your definition of a high value man is being getting into a trade and having 5 kids by the time you're 22? Then it also high value man is being an esports professional.
You're absolutely making my point for me right here. Okay, this is what I'm saying.
My point is that high value man. You gave a list of 8 things. Do these 8 things to become a high value man. Do 1 through 8 to become A, and you're not defining what A is.
The fastest way to becoming a high value man is these things.
What is that?
Okay. So here's the thing. So if we're talking about family creation, we already talked. Okay, so you want to go? Okay, let's go one by one. Do you want to go one by one? Okay,
no,
so
I want to go before one by one. What is a high value man?
We can't have an argument if I don't even know what your
definition is. The very fact that you're even asking this in the first place is the actual point of the fucking tweet. Okay, so if you're going to be a high value man with the fucking hands tied behind your back, then what is that? What does that mean to you? That's the point. This whole discussion is the point of the fucking tweet. You guys,
one of the tweet was, you've got some conception of a high value man. Here are 8 points that you think you need to do to get to it. And now you've gotten blown the fuck up on the vasectomy thing, which you probably realize is fucking retarded, but you're too old and stubborn to walk back from it. That's the point of this conversation.
I'm not too stubborn to fucking walk back from it, because the point of it was to get douche nozzles like yourself to fucking have this conversation in the first place.
How old are you, bro? Douche nozzles?
Yes. You guys are fucking idiots. Why do you guys come in here from fucking Twitch stream? Like, how you guys are legitimate in all of this? I don't know, because because everything I've heard come out of you guys' mouth is just fucking confident ignorance. That's all I can from this.
No, Myron. Okay, I'm not asking you like in terms of the debate. You call yourself the godfather of the red pill.
You call myself the godfather of the manosphere, okay? Other people have called me that.
Okay, great. That's
Do you understand?
Okay, so as
godfather or grandfather of the man, which one is it?
Whatever it is, the old guy of the manosphere. What is your definition of high value man? This is the #1 talked about topic on all of these shows. So I want to get a clear definition from you. What is it?
You tell again. It depends on the person. It depends on the culture. Depends on the. So here's the thing. Let me tell you. Maybe I can explain this to you, Sneako, because at least you got your ears open here. The thing is that when we're talking about what's the top G, what's a high value guy, you probably haven't heard this because you don't read my stuff and you don't watch my shit. No. But I've also said this is like the red pill has to be for everybody, or it's for nobody. So if we're looking at a guy who's draped across a Lamborghini and he's got hot chicks with him, and we say that's what I'm aspiring to, but I'll never make that because I live in a fucking fishing village on the coast of Chile, right? That means I can never match that high apex of a high value guy.
The guy in the car?
But the guy who happens to live in those villages or happens to be in a different culture or in a different country or whatever else, he can still benefit from that because however he's defining himself as a high value man in his fishing village, maybe that's what he can aspire to.
It has nothing to do with Chile and the village and the car.
See, here's the thing: is you guys want me to say, okay, a high value man makes $100,000 a year. He's fucked 50 chicks. He's got like that's the thing.
That's not what I want you to say. I disagree with that. I'm asking you because I come on this all the time.
Disagree with it. What I'm saying is the point of the tweet is so you'll ask that question.
I'm past the tweet. I'm past that. Look, I'm asking as somebody who's really interested in the red pill. I listen to a lot of this content. I want to know what your definition is, because if you have a definition that's completely off of what I think it is, then I guess I'm not red pill.
Well, here's what I think guys ought to do. Would you like me to give you some prescriptions? Is that what we're trying for here?
No, I want to know your opinion of a high value man. What is it?
I think a high value man is whatever is contextually makes that guy a high value guy in whatever culture that he happens to be in. If that's money, that's money. Right now, that's what we tend to focus on right now. But if I'm going to say that,
value man is a guy that has the things that makes him a high value man.
All right,
the
things that make you a high value man. Okay, what is that? We've been trying to. We're never going to define it.
Just kind of because here's the thing: when I read the tweet, I interpreted it right with a higher step. Like he's listing things that if you follow these things, right, and you actually follow them, you're probably not going to become a fuck up, right? And to be a high value guy, I would say it's a combination of things. It's obviously having your money on point, having social proof and status, having respect from your peers, having a network of other high value men, right? Which I agree with Kevin Samuels on that. Being fit to a degree. If you have all these things in place, you'll be considered a high value man by most people in most societies, right? If you have these things in place. Now, with that said, to get there, right, you obviously have to focus and get your shit together and make sure that you focus on getting there. What he's saying is all these, the list of things that he mentioned, if you follow them, it's going to mitigate your risk of becoming a fuck up and not getting to that point as quickly as possible. And I think that's so important, is that this tweet kind of gets taken out of context. He's saying the quickest way to become a high value man, avoid and do these things because you're limiting distractions. And he's using Brandon Carter as an example where he's in a monogamous relationship with a girl. He outsourced a lot of his things. Why? So he's able to focus on making more money. He's getting rid of obstacles. And I think that tweet demonstrates that. Yes. You're getting rid of obstacles so you can become a high value man in the quickest possible way. Now, I know the most controversial one is the vasectomy. Though there's other ways to get the same, I guess, effect from vasectomy. Let's say you use a condom. Let's say you pull out, whatever it may be. He's saying, okay, if you get the vasectomy, then we know for a fact you're not going to have children.
Yeah.
It's really no different than having a condom or pulling out or whatever it may be. The point is to not get a girl pregnant. How you want to get there is up to you, whether it's through a vasectomy, using condoms, whatever. But he's making it retard proof. Hey, vasectomy, because I know even if you are the dumbest guy ever, you can't fuck this up.
I don't think a retarded guy could be a high value guy.
No, when I say retarded, I mean as in stupid. But what I'm saying is that the point I'm trying to make is this list is the foolproof way, if everything is followed, for you to get your status up as quickly as possible in your 20s.
That's not what the list is, though. Because what you just said was advice, and he said it's clearly not advice. So you're interpreting it different
He said
way.
He's joking, and he's trying to provoke
joking,
people.
Like half of it was just for jokes.
But I'm telling you, I started out telling you guys how I interpreted that.
Yeah,
sure.
Right.
You're not wrong.
You're
not wrong.
So that people can interpret it how they want,
Exactly.
which is to create discussion. That's the point.
Ain't it funny?
That's what he's saying.
He asked a question earlier. So you asked him a question, what is high value? You answered it. It's whatever you determine that to be.
No, that's bullshit. None of you guys believe that.
If
some guy comes on this show and he weighs 350 pounds and he says, I'm Diamond 1 in League of Legends. That's what I want to do with my life. Would you go, well, if that's what you really want, you're high value. You wouldn't say that.
No, but once again, it starts in the mind. You're going to say, for example, oh, that's not true, which I agree it's not true. But ultimately, you as a man decide what's high value for you.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Value is probably something that's determined by society. High value means that you have a worth to other people. You're just talking about being comfortable, having high self-esteem.
I agree, but the tweet...
You don't say you agree with me. I just said the total opposite thing you just said.
No. I agree on that point where, for example, people will determine you as high value. However, the tweet saying high value could mean, in your sense, whatever that means to you.
No, it doesn't.
What?
That's what he's saying.
No, he's not. He doesn't know because he doesn't have a good definition. Because he knows if he says anything, he's going to get pinned
You sound
down
like
on
the
it.
girls who believe they're a 10 because they
Yeah.
describe themselves as a 10 in the mirror.
If you brought
That's
in
the
some
same
You're
argument.
missing
loser
the point.
and he's like, I'm high value because I'm a manager at my McDonald's, you probably wouldn't agree that he's high value.
Is that when he says high value, you're going to determine that as a man. What does that mean for you? Success is a part of it, yes, but their success could be owning a farm or having a business. It doesn't matter. He's saying to get to that point, you need focus. Ultimately, that's what he's saying. Just be focused.
I mean, look, we make fun of the girls all the time for
Eliminate
saying that they're
distractions.
10 out of 10s all the time because they say it in their head, I believe I'm a 10 out of 10. No, that's ridiculous because society determines how attractive you are. Society determines how valuable you are. You can't apply that a lot. You can't make fun of the girl, the ugly fat whale who thinks she's a 10 girl boss queen, and then also say a high value man can believe it in his head.
Well, I gave you guys a 10.
You have a good definition. You talked about some shit, being relatively fit, having a network of people that are very social.
absolutely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that sounds like
I do. Because here's the thing. For me, I will define it because that will allow you guys to see where I'm coming from when I'm interpreting that.
Yeah, we know where you're coming from, but we have the tweet author here. He doesn't know where he's coming from. He seems a little lost right now, so we're trying to figure out, what exactly he means. But
I think, again, the tweet, I think that's the important part of the tweet is that it allows people to interpret it how they want, and which is why we're talking about it right now. The tweet did what it was supposed to do. Why would you? If I'm giving advice to people, I don't want them to interpret it how they want. Otherwise, what the fuck is the point of my message? If I'm telling
not giving advice to people, that's the whole point of this. Do you want? It's impossible to put anything out there without people interpreting it as follow these fucking steps. Here's your 12 rules for life, and you're going to live a happy fucking
rules
life.
for being a high value man. That's literally what your tweet was. Do these things. High value. What is the wording of the tweet? Go back to the tweet itself.
Quickest
What
way
is
to
it?
Wording. So here's in that wording of the tweet. What's the last part of that? What's the last one? Resist easing up on your focus. Whatever's like, do you want me to insert what you ought to be doing? You ought to be coding. Is that what I should say? You ought to be becoming a professional athlete. I don't know what your fucking strengths are.
You can simplify and say work hard.
Again, here's the thing. If I say, you know what, you ought to be an NBA player. And it doesn't matter if you're 5'9", fucking stay on your focus and you're going to be the best NBA player you can possibly be.
No, that'd be terrible advice.
That would be absolutely terrible advice because this isn't fucking advice. That's why. Okay, this is a list that is meant to get so you get an idea of what the fuck it is that you're going to do so that you can become that high value man. Protect yourself. Don't get married. Avoid family creation. Vasectomy. Again, this is over the top shit. Anybody who knows anything about my material, when I throw this out there, they know this is over the top shit.
What else on that list?
Feeds the fucking fire for douche nozzles like
what else besides
Ben Shapiro.
I don't want to be a douche nozzle, but what else?
Yeah, besides number 3, what else here is over the top?
Besides vasectomy.
Well, live consistently, okay? Well, what if some people will say, well, that's vanity, right?
Myron, there's no way you agree with that. Saying
Well,
live
actually,
consistent.
hold on. For Rollo, it might be. Okay, to be fair.
I already,
okay?
guys, see, here's the thing.
But you're missing, are you not hearing anything he's saying? Like,
See,
do you need to blindly agree with him?
No,
Because
no,
nothing he's saying is making any sense.
Bro,
It's not making any sense to you because you don't understand the fucking concept of the tweet. That's why.
You can't even
Did
thoroughly
you understand what okay, let me stop here. Did you understand what I was saying about Brandon Carter?
Yeah, he doesn't do his laundry.
No, but he's taken everything to this extreme level. It's like to a lot of guys, Brandon Carter's not a high. Okay, would you agree with me that Brandon Carter is a high value guy?
Sure.
Okay, you know who wouldn't? Ben Shapiro. You know who wouldn't? A lot of other people because they think that they're living out their own high value ideal. Do you understand that?
Context.
Like the 350-pound esports player is living out his ideal of a high value man.
Yeah, whether or not that's working for him is irrelevant to the fucking tweet. When I say, okay, when I'm talking about Brandon Carter, you say you understand that. He's taking it to like this extreme level.
How is Ben Shapiro not a high value guy?
Like stay on top of it. For Brandon Carter, what do you think Brandon Carter's definition of a high value man is?
Probably the same as mine.
Which is
determined by society. If you have respect from your community, then you are a high value person. If people respect you.
So being pro-social and having people like you and depending on
I know you don't agree with him because he's Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro is definitely a high value man.
Okay, but so let's just say let's say
he does. He said so.
You don't think Ben Shapiro's a high value man?
let's take for. Do I think he is? I don't think he's a high value man. But
Wait, what is his definition? He owns his own business. Is like one of the most successful alt media platforms in the world. He's married his fucking young sweetheart.
Right. You know who else is not a high value guy? Elon Musk. Let's see. Who else? Jeff Bezos. All you got to do is just go. All you have to do is look at the decisions they've made in their personal lives. Okay. How are we going to define that? If I'm going to define that,
you haven't. You're the only one who hasn't defined it.
Yeah. Because I'm not the one defining it for fucking Jeff Bezos. I'm not the one defining it for fucking what's his face? Ben Shapiro.
Whale can think she's a 10 as long as that's how she defines beauty to herself.
Well, you guys just defined. Well, hold on, wait, Sneako. You just defined Brandon Carter as a high value guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that fits your definition of a high value guy, but I will tell you right now that that would not fit the same definition that say Ben Shapiro would have for a high value guy, because he doesn't have his babies on point. He doesn't have this on point. He's not going to church or synagogue every day, right? So to him, he's not necessarily a high value guy.
I don't think what is synagogue has to do with high value. That's like
that's the way that other people would define it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's not, value is not subjective. When we talk about value, we're usually talking about some sort of exchange in a market. No, value is usually what are people willing to do or give for a certain thing. It's not defined by this. If one man is on an island with no other people, there is no value.
No, this one over your head is the idea of being high value.
No, there is no idea of being high value. And if it was anybody else on the show, you guys would be roasting the fuck out of them for saying that's your idea of being high value. You would be roasted. If any of the girls come here, because you do this to girls all the time, so it goes right. They're like, I think I'm a 10. It's like, why? Because I'm so special and blah, blah, blah.
I say you're not special.
I just gave you Brandon Carter as an example. I just gave you Brandon Carter. I gave you. We can use any single example you want. You could be the 500-pound guy who just does esports, or it can be like Brandon Carter or the top G. Yep. Any one of those guys. The thing still applies.
All right, look.
Are you better off? Are you better off without the obstructions? Are you better off without the bag?
Everyone here has kind of a different thing. Like me, I've defined it. This is what I think makes you high value. You might have a different take on it. You might have a different take on it. I've defined it, and then I took my interpretation off what you said. If you want to get these things, and it makes sense to me, those things that you listed. But I'm seeing here that everyone here kind of has a different interpretation.
Wait, that's not true. All four of us probably roughly agree on what makes you high value.
No, we don't.
The three of us probably
Ben Shapiro said you said you have high value. I don't think
having like some amount of like physical fitness. We all agree that that's decently valuable, correct?
On some level, yeah.
Okay, having some amount of like social status. So you've got the attention of a lot of people and you're influential. We all agree on that, right? Mm-hmm. Having some amount of financial success, right? You have freedom to take care of your family, retire if you want to, even at an early age. We all agree with that, right?
Okay.
And having some level of success with your family and friends, right? We all roughly agree on that, right?
Okay.
If you have those four things in check, you're probably a high value man.
No, it's more than that. See, here's what he's saying. I can add more to it because for me, in my head, what high value is way more than that. To you, that might be important, but to me, it's not. That's not everything.
What's a key component missing from what I said?
Is a high value guy the guy that marries somebody from a foreign country and brings her over here so she can get citizenship? Because that's your family dynamic. My family dynamic is different than that. Does that make me high value or low value?
Exactly. It's going to depend on the person.
If I'm in a heterosexual marriage for 27 years and not in a polycule or some shit, like it's like some people will say you're high value because you do that. People will say, Rollo, you can't be red pill because you're married. Or you can't be married because you're red pill. Okay. And suddenly I'm blue pill because I am actually in a relationship where it's like close on her end, close on her end, and close on my end. But if I go and I talk to the top G, or I talk to somebody who's like in an open relationship, is that guy high value because of that? This is not a judgment call. I'm just saying that the definition is going to be different. Even if you have all those things, even each one of those things that you just mentioned is still subject to the context. I agree with what you said, Destiny. What I'm saying is that from within each one of those attributes, people are going to have something wildly different. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to use that for fucking blog fodder and topics to go and do, quick hit videos on because they just want, click through rate for something like that.
What would we say about women? If we say, what is a high value woman?
You tell me, man. It's like, again, this is the definition.
Bro, this is like your wheelhouse. This is your chance to steamroll.
I don't think you understand why fucking wheelhouse is. Quite honestly, I don't think you do.
Red pill shit. Isn't that what you do?
Your name is the rational male.
Yeah, a high value woman is.
I don't talk about high value women, dude. In fact, if anything, I say there's no such thing as a quality woman because it's an ideal that guys have in their heads.
There's no such thing as a quality woman.
No such thing as a quality woman because guys have this. The quality woman is an ideal, but we can talk about that when I get there. But the thing is this is like when you're building a relationship or when you have this idea in your head. You want to know why guys get into so much fucking trouble in their marriages? It's because of that ideal. Because every guy who ever got married thought that she was the best fucking thing in the world. Otherwise, he wouldn't have got married to her. And then until he gets across the divorce table from her, now she's a fucking evil monster.
That's one. Whenever you genuinely don't think that there's quality women in the world.
I think that there are women who have different attributes than others that match very well with guys. Sure, there are good clicks, of course. But the thing is like the idea of the quality woman is an ideal that guys have that gets them into a lot of trouble. That's why they're in love with the ideal, not the actual person.
That's why high value men, but there aren't high value women.
I'm not saying that I said there aren't high value men and there aren't high value women. Okay, it just depends on who we're talking about.
I don't know what the hell he's talking about, bro.
In the context,
I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about.
I get what he's saying, but
I feel like I need to do mushrooms before I come on this show. That's what it feels like. The kind of conversation we're having right
now. No, you know what it is, Destiny. Is you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's why.
On any of this, and I'm surprised because you write about this all the time. You wrote a whole book about it. People they really respect it. And I have no idea.
You guys might be confused because I'm the one that says there's no such thing as a high value woman. A woman that's a woman gets her value directly from a man that she gets in a relationship with, because all women have value, but not all men have value.
All women don't have the same value.
Well,
don't even think about it. You know that's not true. If I give you a woman with 100 bodies and a woman with 0 bodies, if I give you one that's 500 pounds, if I give you one with 5 kids, so
here's my thing. Okay, here's my thing, because I've said this before.
I know men must become and women are. I know you're about to do that speech. But I'm just saying there are some women that are better than others.
I wasn't going to say that. Of course, of course. But all women have value to some level, but not all men have value because men have to build their shit up. So what I'm saying is that a high value woman
not even true.
A high value woman gets her value from being with a high value man.
I don't even think that's true. All men have value to some extent.
The metric of success for a female is being able to get the best man that they can get.
And men can build and do things. In places like China, where you're limited to the amount of children, what do? They opt for boys because they can go out and work and fucking get jobs and shit and do things around the fucking house or whatever, right?
Yeah, the fucking 1980s. The one child policy hasn't been around since the mid 90s, dude.
Sure, but when it was grossly favoring the birth of boys because you could do more with boys than you could with women. Just the idea that like
that was a prescription until now they're facing the consequences of that.
Well, so is Japan. That's a super homogenous.
That's one situation. Okay, you're using China, but let's be honest here. Why does it say women and children off the boat first, and not men? Women have always had. No, yeah, it's a chivalry thing. But why is that? Because if you have 100 women and one guy, you can still continue society. But if you have 100 men and one woman, we're fucked.
Women are the vulnerable sex, and men are the disposable sex. That's why
women have value inherently. So what I'm saying is this: since every woman has value, for a woman to be high value, she's got to be able to lock down a high value guy. There's a reason why women take a man's last name and not the other way around. Women, when they meet each other and hug, the first thing they ask typically is, "Oh, do you have a man? Do you have a relationship? Tell me about your kids, etc." When two men meet, what do? Shake hands. What do you do for a living? Men are judged on creating value. Women are judged on creating children, typically. Now, are there some women out there that chase success and making money, whatever? Sure, but that is not the main goal of a female. The main goal of a female from a biological sense is to procreate. For a woman to procreate, she's got to be with a man. Typically, they want the best guy. For a man to procreate, he's got to create excess resources to be able to attract that woman. So what we bring to the table is different. And what I would argue,
I don't disagree with any of that, but there are high value women, and there probably are high value men.
I think a woman's only high value if she could lock down a high value guy. That's my take.
Okay, well at least you have a definition.
That's my definition on it. Which again, I see all of us here at the table have different opinions, which is great. But that's my take on it. Like with a high value man, a high value woman.
No. I mean, what you want me to say is a woman who has a low body count, who is a girl from the Amish Dutch country in Pennsylvania, who's never known another man, doesn't have any social media. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can go with this, but again, it's those are ideals. Okay,
yeah, the other ideals are important because ideals are what we strive for. An ideal is the whole.
And those ideals are also what lead us astray, which is why this list is fucking useful. That's why.
Lead us astray. Ideals lead you into a better life. That's the whole point of an ideal. It's the best version of yourself. You're never going to be the best version of yourself, but the path to being the best version of yourself.
Every guy who ever thought he found his fucking soulmate, who ended up on the opposite side of the fucking divorce table from her, had a fucking ideal about that woman.
Sure, and every man that dies happily surrounded by his family who had a long.
Oh, yes, I know the pastoral scene with everybody fought. Well, yeah, we're surrounded by his family. You know what? You know that like 90% of the population of the United States doesn't die like that. They actually die in assisted living, and nobody knows about it until the next morning.
Okay, as opposed to you, who was tweeting about dying in his motorbike in an accident. Okay, dude.
You said you wanted to blast
that is a fucking
in your car and play Slayer.
Con fantasy.
Guys,
come on.
let me hit these chats real fast.
And we got another show coming up.
Yeah, we got another show coming up. I'm
True.
gonna go through this real fast. All right, so we got Kid Blue RB goes, Rollo dodging the defining a high value man is like the LGBT dodging what a woman is. Feels like I'm watching Matt Walsh's documentary right now. You're the grandmaster of RP. You out of all people should be able to define what a high value man is.
He can't define high value male, but he could define us as douche nozzles.
All right, let me.
That's pretty funny though.
Microshoot says, Myron, you're my guy, but you're giving Rollo an out. Let him stand on the chair he's standing on so he can continue hanging himself with his food.
I know you really want to defend him because
well, here's the thing.
I know you base a lot of the show around that book, but like, bro, he's making absolutely no sense.
Here's the thing. Everyone is interpreting it different. Obviously, I have my take on it. Rollo has his take.
He doesn't have a take, bro.
We all have different takes on this.
He doesn't have a take.
That's still a take.
That's still a take.
That's still a take.
Okay.
It is.
If this was some LGBT shit or some woman shit, we would be all laughing and roasting the fight. Rightfully so.
Yes.
If a woman came on and we were like, what makes a woman high value? And she's like, well, if she's in her moment and if she's girl bossing it up as hard as she can, that's a high value woman. Like we would be roasting.
That's the same argument he's making right now.
What I'm saying. That's not it's fucking apples and oranges. That's the problem with all this shit. Is like you don't even fucking understand the nature of the tweet. That's why.
Because I'm asking you a specific question, you can't answer it. Ask if it's advice. It's not. It's a joke. It's not.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's a high value. Let me give you a high value man. A high value man goes and fucks as many chicks as he possibly can, as many women as possible, and he fucking finds one little needle in the haystack, and he wipes up that girl because she happens to have no body count. She's like 100% in love with him, and I can go and rattle off all these extremes, and you know who's going to disagree with me? Every fucking guy in fucking Daily Wire is going to disagree.
Say what you really think. Don't say it ironically. Say what you believe.
What I'm saying is what I believe here, okay? This is the whole thing. It's the point of the fucking tweet is that it's your fucking definition of what it is.
You keep saying that Ben Shapiro. You said Ben Shapiro's not a high-value man. So you must be comparing him to some standard in your head. You said Bezos is not a high-value man. You said Elon Musk is not a high-value man. So there's some standard in your head that you're comparing these guys to that they're not matching up to. What is that standard?
Right. Well, all you would have to do is look at their personal lives so you would understand this. Again, do I have time to go and enumerate all that? No, I don't. But if you go and you look at what they're doing, look, let's just use Elon Musk for a second here.
Yeah, let's use Ben Shapiro. That was a good example. Ben Shapiro.
We can look at Ben Shapiro. How did he meet his wife? Do you know how he met his wife?
What did they
It was arranged, right?
Was it an arranged or family friends? I don't know.
No, basically what Ben Shapiro did was he wore this chick down over the course of God knows like 3 or 4 months, right? He would meet the definition of stalking and being a creeper if he wasn't Ben Shapiro, right? If he didn't have his background in who he was.
3 to 4 months. What does that mean?
Basically,
what it means is he wore her down is what he did. He's very proud of that fact too.
Okay, hold on real quick. You seem to have a problem with this. When somebody asks you what is X, and then you go, well, it's X, you're not really answering the question. You've done this like 3 times. When you say wore her down over 3 to 4 months, what does that mean? Did they date? Did he see her after school?
What that means is he was persistent. He just kept wearing her down over the course of time.
Bro, that's ridiculous, man.
I will send you the video. I will send you the video.
Okay. Jesus.
All right.
You guys should do viewer call-ins more often. It's cute.
Okay.
And you should send your OnlyFans girls to come at me to debate me in your proxy next time.
I mean, we're asking to debate you right now, and you can't even.
Except next time, please find the girl who actually puts lenses in her fucking glasses. A little weird.
You're so triggered, dude. Are you okay?
Not very rational.
I think
his 6 month will be the emotional male. I think
because I would consider Ben Shapiro a high value guy. I would.
Yeah, no, everybody would obviously.
But
wait, you disagree with the Grandmaster?
The Godfather, the great granddaddy of the Red Bull.
Y'all niggas trolling, man.
The Grand Wizard.
Myron, would you agree with his outlook on women?
With Ben Shapiro's outlook on women?
Yeah. Ben Shapiro has literally come at you for exactly this. For everything that these guys are talking about, he's come at you for exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so
you guys did a full show on this.
No, for sure. I disagree with him on as far as like the female stuff, like, oh yeah, that like having sexual experience is like bad for you, like he was trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
But I think objectively speaking, from the things that I listed as far as what I think makes a guy high value, he has all those things. Now, he's limited on his knowledge of females for sure, right? Because I think he only got with one girl, and you know, she comes from a certain type. She comes from a family, and a certain family. I don't want to say because we're on YouTube, but but I think that set her up. Yeah, cha-ching. That set her up to be a girl that would be to his liking. But the point I'm trying to make is, I think Ben Shapiro's a high value guy, but I don't agree with his stances on women.
Well, the same thing with Steven Crowder right now. You guys were just talking about Crowder not too long ago. Like right up until he got this divorce and all this stuff started coming out, and Candace Owens and all that shit.
Guys, but I don't.
Everybody would have said he was a high value guy until now.
I think they're high value guys like Crowder and Ben Shapiro based on what they've accomplished in life. But I don't agree with their standpoints on.
Rollo
females.
thinks that if he disagrees with them, then they can't be high value because they don't agree with his books.
True.
You guys are just, like, go back to fucking Twitch. Just go back to Twitch and start playing games again. You have no fucking point. There's no point for either one of you to be on this fucking show, quite honestly.
Dumbledore has spoken.
Because here's the thing: the traditional conservative beliefs don't necessarily work in today's sexual marketplace when it comes to dealing with women.
No, we agree, but that's the reason he thinks Ben Shapiro's not high value, because he disagreed with you on relationships.
No, what I'm saying is that well, yes, I would actually agree with that, simply because.
Okay, so there's a point. Does Ben Shapiro, the way what his disagreement with you, does that then at least in some way diminish him as a high value man? No, we can disagree. I disagree with that.
I'm asking Myron. I mean, because it's Myron who says, well, he's a high value guy, but like,
describe that he disagrees with the traditional relationships.
If you're going to look at money, muscles, and game, okay. In this case, it's the female aspect of what makes a high value guy, right? If he disagrees with what he's not disagreeing with me, he's disagreeing with Myron.
He just said that he's high value.
He said he's high value, but except for that one part where he's saying, you know what, I disagree with his outlook when it comes to like women and how best to go about like forming relationships or whatever, the sex, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think he's a high value guy, but I disagree with his notion on how to deal with women.
Well, he's not fucking 50. He's not fucking 50 guy or 50 women.
No,
he's not. He's not. He's against that, which I think is dated. You know what I mean? Again, like I said before, I think a guy could be traditionally conservative, but I'd not agree. I don't necessarily have to agree with someone's viewpoints on how they deal with females for me to see them as high value, because I think he accomplishes all the things that I mentioned on my list of what I think makes a guy high value.
And so what you're doing is you're saying that high value is these accomplishments, correct?
Yeah, I'm interpreting it. Yeah, that's how I interpret it, which obviously everyone here at the panel has a different opinion.
I kind of agree. Yeah, I agree with that. Respected, accomplished.
Which is
we don't really have a different opinion.
I feel like our definitions are pretty aligned at the table.
Yeah, with us three, yeah. But I mean, again, we're looking at things differently in general.
Okay.
Because you guys don't agree. I agree with his tweet if you want to become high value in the quickest amount of time.
But you can't agree with it if he doesn't even define it. You can't agree with him if you don't even know what his definition is.
But
does he agree with it? Defined by the way he defines it.
What his is.
No, but he did though. He chose what high value means to him. You're missing a point.
Thank you. Fresh is the voice of reason.
It's going over your head because you guys are thinking about 1 point vasectomy. That's it.
We weren't even on vasectomy, but that's okay. I think we come to the bottom of this.
It's common sense.
Well, Myron agrees with the tweet that I'm talking about, according to what his definition of a high value guy is. Correct?
Yeah, he knows his definition.
Yeah,
exactly.
High value men are just like people that have high value and are men. I agree. I got it.
All right, I'll hit these other ones. We got here Viking Paradigm, ignoring the context, talking over, interrupting ad hominems, goalpost shifting, claiming it's advice when it's not. It's easy to see who's trying to control their viewers and who's not, and easy to see who lost the debate here.
Hey, you're a douche nozzle. That's a douche nozzle thing to say.
Shout out Viking, man.
That's not very rational of you.
Life, love, value. Women aren't so simple. Leave these RP dudes alone in their zone to stew. Responsibility, intelligence, and discipline above all, and are talismans of happiness for most people. Enjoy life, grind, and don't glorify.
Hey, I agree. Okay, 100%.
And then what else we got here? We got Mike Rashid. I hope y'all don't let Rollo's weird immigration comment fly by.
Immigration comment.
Immigration?
I wish I got an invite for this discussion.
I wish you got an invite for this discussion.
He should come to the round table next week.
Immigration?
He's not Trump.
We didn't talk about
what am I talking about?
immigration.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. What else? Anything else?
Up to you guys. Question mark.
That's it.
John.
100%.
100%. If I wanted to learn how to become a successful man, I'd go to Rollo before going to Sneako or Destiny, two grown-ass men who argue like teenage boys.
All right, so a 55-year-old guy calling us douche nozzles to someone who's like 3 times younger, that's a mature way to argue?
Damn.
If that's your idea, then okay.
Wow. Shots fired.
That's just what happened on the show.
This is a great debation.
Do you have anything to say? Like you called in.
Great debation.
Staring.
Where can they find y'all?
I mean, they know where to find. We plugged in that.
Go back to Twitch. That's some advice for you. That's some real advice for you guys. You guys have no business fucking being in any of this shit right here. You're not ready to have a fucking adult conversation. Everything.
I've seen you chatting more than any other name in the chats. I re-chat like whenever I stream, which is when I'm online, and you're in there more than me.
True.
So calling us Twitch, actually, I'm banned on there. I'm on Rumble, but yeah, if you want to pull the online card, then maybe get off the internet a little bit and chatting all day. Douche nozzle.
It's a lot harder when it's not just like 22-year-old women being ganged up on a podcast, huh? I'm sorry, Rollo.
No, I'll be happy to fucking debate you, dude. On any topic you want.
We are right now.
We just did.
No, you're talking about this one fucking tweet is what you're talking about.
Well, we were talking to the godfather of Red Pill trying to.
Yeah, and speaking of fucking tweets, or excuse me, speaking of fucking super chats, was that not you on whatever podcast the other night?
Yeah, I like to support people that go on to have a podcast.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you for at least admitting it.
Those are the only 2 super chats I've sent in my life. If I'm watching content and I want to know if it's Red Pill or not, I just
it seems like you're watching a lot more than you think you are.
Every program I've ever been on. It's insane. You should get a tax credit for like watching me.
Bro, do you have anything to say? Why are you staring like that, man? Okay. I thought you'd have a rational.
It's like, no, you guys. Let's see. Here's the thing: is you guys. First of all, I've thrown out this
swear in his car after the show.
First of all, this challenge. If you guys want to come to Vegas, come to Vegas. We'll sit across the table from each other.
No, we're gonna build up your fucking dog shit podcast. What are you talking about? Come to Miami.
I am coming to Miami
next week.
Oh, cool.
I hope you're here next week.
You guys are so mean, man.
Yeah,
what can we all come
bro,
together
I didn't even say. What do you mean we're mean? He called us douche nozzles. Oh, it's fine. He's the grand wizard of Red Pill, so I can't go say anything about that. But I'm mean now because I'm calling him irrational for not having any arguments at all. Bro, I know you want to defend him because the book is here on the table, but like, bro, that made no sense.
You guys have not read the book. You guys don't know what the fuck
I'm not reading your book, bro. You can't even define what high value man is. Why would I read a book from a guy who can't have a clear definition?
I don't know if you read the book.
I'm not even going to go there. I'm fucking for the last half hour. I've been trying to explain to you this shit to you. You guys have no business being in this fucking sphere to begin with. First of all.
Okay.
Second of all,
forever until you're 65.
Second of all, and the reason why is because you devolve into. You want to know why? Like when we talk, nobody debates anymore. You know why? Because it devolves into this middle school bullshit that both of you are. But you guys are perfect. Yes, you guys should marry each other.
You can't call this childish when you were the one who started insulting. I would just ask you a question, and then you said douche nozzle. True. Now you're gonna go play the maturity card.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna play the maturity card.
That was a middle school argument. All right. I mean, this is not going anywhere.
This was a great debate. Debation.
Well, I mean, it's very obvious that everyone here has different takes, which is great. I think that's good.
I'm not sure what his take is still, but
that's cool. It's different than ours. We know that.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Is there anything else, Chris? Or
let's see. Nope, we're good.
All right. Bro,
smash that like button
that you want to say before we?
Say I'll be there next week.
All right. Cool. Well, I think we'll have him on the 15th.
Let's do a boxing match. Just kidding.
All right. Rollo, thanks for coming on, bro.
Thanks, Rollo.
Take it easy, man. Okay, so let's see here. We're caught up, Chris, on your end?
Bro, that's a goofy Godfather, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Ooh. I mean, like that shit was goofy.
Careful.
You can't. I know you really want to defend him, and mine right now, I know you're probably like, no,
it's not that. We all have different takes on it, which is fine.
Okay, but he did get triggered immediately. For someone who called himself the rational man, that was no rational arguments were made. He got emotional. He got triggered immediately. He started cursing. That was not like an example of good masculinity.
What do you do?
I tried to engage and I asked him specific questions.
I mean, you
also made
when did I insult him?
Multiple times.
Yeah, but it was after he started. If he's going to start, of course you're going to follow up, right?
Well, you attacked him the prior show, so just to be fair,
I'm pretty sure
you did.
What'd I say?
Say that his comments were like asinine. They didn't make sense.
That's not insulting. That's going at his advice. I'm talking about his argument.
And then you said the man I made the comments is. I'm just saying. Look, ultimately, we both did the same thing.
That's not true.
If you think about it,
that's just not true.
Talking shit about somebody's arguments is a lot less serious.
Than calling you a douche nozzle. I didn't call him a douche nozzle.
Come on, you got me. It was kind of funny.
Douche nozzle.
Okay.
I personally wouldn't tolerate that type of disrespect, but you know.
Right.
Where can I find y'all?
Rumble.com/Sneako. You already know.
YouTube.com, Instagram.com/Destiny.
And y'all are gonna stick around for the after hours, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go.
So I think the girls are here. So we're gonna be back here with some girls, guys, have a discussion. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Go check out Rollo on YouTube as well. I think it was a good discussion. I think everybody had different takes on it. I think it was good. You know, we agreed on some things, disagreed on some other things. I think that's the importance of bringing people in to have different viewpoints. And
as men, we can agree to disagree and still be friends after.
True.
On some level.
Yeah, I think it's important to be able to have these tough discussions.
I would love to listen to Slayer and accelerate in my car.
This guy, bro.
I don't like a family.
All right, guys.
All right.
Peace.
We'll catch you guys.
I ran so far away.